Have you ever imagined the audacity it takes for a nation, once shackled by colonization, to tell its former colonizer, "It's time for you to leave"? This is not a story from a distant past. It's unfolding right now in Côte d'Ivoire, a country that has boldly asked French troops to leave its soil. This move is more than a political decision. It's a defiant stand against decades of external control. It's a cry for sovereignty and self-determination, echoing across a continent long burdened by colonial shadows. Why is this happening now? What does it mean for the African continent? And why is the world watching so closely? This monumental decision by Côte d'Ivoire isn't just a localized event. It's a symbolic turning point in Africa's quest for independence and unity. From the bustling streets of Abidjan to the broader Sahel region, the implications are immense. If you're passionate about African history, culture, and stories that shape our future, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the African Web and hit that notification bell. Together, let's explore the narratives that matter most to Africa's past, present, and future. This isn't just about military presence. It's about reclaiming dignity, agency, and the power to determine one's own destiny. Côte d'Ivoire's stand is not just a national issue, but a continental call for change. It is a testament to Africa's growing assertion of its rightful place on the global stage. But before we delve into the details, let's reflect. What does true sovereignty look like for a nation like Côte d'Ivoire, and can this decision inspire others? To understand the magnitude of this decision, we must journey back in time to the colonial era. Côte d'Ivoire, like many African nations, was under French rule until gaining independence in 1960. However, independence was largely symbolic. The relationships forged during colonization persisted, particularly through economic and military agreements that kept France deeply embedded in the region's affairs. One of the most enduring legacies of this colonial relationship is the CFA Franc. This currency, controlled by the French treasury, has long symbolized economic dependence. Critics argue that it stifles growth and perpetuates a neo-colonial dynamic. Military agreements have also played a crucial role in maintaining French influence. French troops were stationed in Côte d'Ivoire ostensibly to ensure stability. However, over time, many Ivorians began questioning whether these troops were protectors or symbols of lingering colonial control. The 21st century has witnessed a gradual awakening across Africa. Nations like Burkina Faso and Mali have already expelled French troops, citing the need for self-reliance and a desire to chart their own course. These bold moves have inspired neighboring countries to reassess their relationships with former colonial powers. In Côte d'Ivoire, public sentiment has been shifting for years. The presence of French troops became increasingly controversial, seen by many as an impediment to true independence. This growing frustration reached a tipping point when the government formally requested their withdrawal. Côte d'Ivoire's decision to expel French troops is not just a standalone event. It's part of a broader movement sweeping across Africa. This wave of nationalism and self-determination reflects a collective desire to break free from the chains of neo-colonialism. But what does this decision mean for Côte d'Ivoire, the region, and the world? The departure of French troops also raises critical questions about security. The Sahel region faces numerous challenges, including terrorism and insurgencies. Without French military support, can Côte d'Ivoire effectively manage these threats? The government must now invest heavily in its own defense infrastructure and foster regional cooperation to address these challenges. On the economic front, this decision could have far-reaching consequences. French military bases contribute to local economies, providing jobs and stimulating commerce. Their removal may create short-term economic destructions. However, it also opens the door for new opportunities. By prioritizing local industries and forging partnerships with other nations, Côte d'Ivoire can build a more self-reliant economy. Globally, this decision signals a decline in France's influence in Africa. Once considered a dominant power on the continent, France now faces a wave of resistance. This shift challenges the traditional dynamics of international relations and creates space for other global players, such as China and Russia, to expand their influence in Africa. Côte d'Ivoire is not alone in its quest for sovereignty. Across Africa, nations are reassessing their relationships with former colonial powers. Leaders like Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso and Assimi Goïta in Mali have become symbols of this resistance, advocating for policies that prioritize African interests. The expulsion of French troops in these countries has sparked a broader conversation about neo-colonialism. Social media platforms have become powerful tools for mobilizing public opinion, with hashtags like #AfricaRising and #BuyBuyFrance gaining traction. Citizens are demanding accountability, transparency, and genuine partnerships that respect Africa's sovereignty. This movement extends beyond military agreements. Economic dependencies, such as the CFA Franc, are also under scrutiny. Many African nations are exploring alternative currencies and trade agreements to reduce their reliance on former colonial powers. This economic independence is seen as a crucial step toward achieving true sovereignty. While the path to independence is inspiring, it is not without challenges. Building self-reliant defense systems requires significant investment and expertise. Terrorist groups and insurgencies continue to pose threats, particularly in the Sahel region. Regional cooperation will be essential to address these issues effectively. Moreover, the rise of new global players like China and Russia presents both opportunities and risks. These nations offer alternatives to traditional Western partnerships, but their motivations are not purely altruistic. African leaders must carefully navigate these relationships to ensure they are mutually beneficial. Domestically, Côte d'Ivoire must address the economic impact of this decision. The removal of French military bases may create short-term disruptions, but it also presents an opportunity to prioritize local industries and create jobs. By investing in education, infrastructure, and technology, the government can build a more resilient economy. Public sentiment in Côte d'Ivoire overwhelmingly supports the decision to expel French troops. Citizens see this as more than a political statement. It's an assertion of identity, dignity, and independence. From the streets of Abidjan to rural villages, this decision has ignited a sense of pride and unity. Social media has played a pivotal role in amplifying this sentiment. Platforms like Twitter and Facebook are filled with messages of support, solidarity, and hope. The youth in particular are leading this movement, demanding a future free from the shadows of colonialism. The implications of Côte d'Ivoire's decision extend far beyond its borders. This move challenges traditional power dynamics and signals a shift in global geopolitics. As Africa asserts its voice on the world stage, the era of one-sided relationships is coming to an end. This transition also raises important questions about the role of international organizations like the United Nations. How can these institutions support Africa's quest for sovereignty while respecting its unique challenges and aspirations? Côte d'Ivoire's decision to expel French troops is a defining moment in Africa's journey toward independence. It's a story of resilience, pride, and an unyielding desire for self-determination. As the continent steps into this new chapter, the world is watching, and history is being written. What are your thoughts on this bold move? Do you think it will inspire other African nations to follow suit? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Africa's evolving story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the African Web for more content. Until next time, stay proud, stay informed, and stay tuned.